Good morning and welcome to Frederick at its best. We're very happy to have these ceremonies on a regular basis where we recognize good things that are happening in Frederick County. And we are really happy to be here today to recognize Black History Month in Frederick County and to share some information about the importance of the African American community in Frederick County. The story of Black history began actually in 1915, a half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. Harvard-trained historian Carter Woodson and prominent minister Jesse Moreland founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, an organization that was dedicated to researching and promoting achievements of Black Americans and other people of African descent. Known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, the group sponsored a National Negro History Week in 1926, choosing the second week of February to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. The event inspired schools and communities across the nation to organize and hold local celebrations, establish history clubs and events to recognize the valued history of African Americans and their importance to our nation. In the decades that followed, the mayors of cities across the country began issuing proclamations recognizing Negro History Week. By the late 1960s, thanks in part to the Civil Rights Movement and a growing awareness of the identity of African Americans and Negro History Week, the custom evolved into Black History Month on many college campuses. President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month for the first time in 1976, calling upon the public to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of African Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. Since then, every American president has designated February as Black History Month, and African Americans have made certainly many achievements in government, law, diplomacy, the military, science, medicine, sports, literature, and many other fields. And we acknowledge a lot of people who are nationally recognized for their accomplishments, like Jack Johnson, who became the first African-American man to hold the world heavyweight champion boxing title in 1908. Harriet Tubman, who we know well and honor here in Maryland for her leadership in the Underground Railroad. We also recognize John Mercer Langston, who was the first African-American man to become a lawyer when he passed the bar in 1854, and then was elected to the post of town clerk in a small town in Ohio. Thurgood Marshall, who is well known and was the first African-American ever appointed to the United States Supreme Court, and he was appointed by President Johnson and served on the Supreme Court from 1967 to 1991. George Washington Carver, Shirley Chisholm, of course, who we know is the first African-American woman elected to serve in the House of Representatives. And the list goes on. And of course, we can't forget our first African-American president, Barack Obama. And if you saw in the Washington Post today, there's an article about a 106-year-old African-American woman who got to meet the President of the United States. And they have a little video that's out there going viral on social media. And it is really a wonderful recognition of a woman who has seen the history and the civil rights changes and everything that's happened over 100 years and couldn't believe she would ever get to shake hands with an African-American president. And it's really a wonderful thing to watch. So if you haven't seen it, get online and look for it or go to the Washington Post. Closer to home, we certainly want to recognize the importance of a number of African-American leaders who've made a difference in our community. We can't do that without recognizing Dr. Ulysses Bourne, who was really one of the first African-American physicians in the community. And he was a physician at the time where he was not allowed to be affiliated with the local hospital. And of course, I also want to recognize his wife, who has her own achievements, Blanche Bourne Tyree. And then Lord Nickens. We all know Lord Nickens as the longtime leader of the local NAACP chapter, but also as a real advocate for civil rights and also for human rights. You know, it's very privileged in my life to get to meet Lord Nickens and to hear him speak about the worth of all people and the rights of everyone to have human dignity and respect. Joy Olney, who is one of the first African Americans to integrate into Frederick High School. and in 1958, and is the author of a local history book about the history of African Americans in Frederick County. And then Bill Lee, who was the first elected African American who served as an alderman in the city of Frederick, followed later by Bill Hall. And then, of course, countywide, people seem to not really acknowledge this very often, but Darrell Boffman was actually the first person to be elected countywide when he was elected to the Board of Education, really just about 10 years ago. So I can't really mention everybody who's made achievements, but there's been a lot of people who've really made a difference to the quality of life here in Frederick County, and we want to acknowledge them. I'm now going to turn it over to President of the County Council, Bud Otis, and Alderwoman Donna Kazumchek, who's representing the city of Frederick, to share a joint proclamation from the county and the city. And I'm going to step out of the way a little bit.
Thank you, Executive Gardner. Very proud to be here today, and thank you for doing this along with the city of Frederick. The proclamation. Whereas in 1976, February was designated as National Black History Month and was formally adopted to honor and affirm the importance of Black history throughout our American experience. And
whereas the people of African American heritage goes back thousands of years and includes some of the greatest and most advanced innovative societies in the history of human existence that we can all draw inspiration from. And
whereas Black History Month is a time for all Americans to reflect on the rich history and teachings of African Americans, whose contributions are vast and wide, to remember those who took a stance against prejudice to build lives of dignity and opportunity, and those who advanced the cause of civil rights and strengthened families and communities. And
whereas the Human Relations Commission is dedicated to the principles of fostering the civil and human rights of the citizens of Frederick County, offering educational programs and encouraging reflection on the rich history and teachings of African Americans, and bearing witness to the progress, beauty, and achievement that they have made throughout our community. And whereas
it is fitting that we set aside special time to acknowledge this important segment of citizens in our community and their history.
Now, therefore, as the County Executive of Frederick County, Maryland, and as President of the County Council, and as the Mayor of the City of Frederick, we hereby proclaim February 2016 as Black History Month in Frederick County. Encourage all residents to join in celebrating Black History Month by participating in educational events honoring the traditions and contributions of African Americans. Signed by County Executive Jan H. Gardner, by County President Bud Otis, and by the Mayor of Frederick City, Randy McClement. Presented this 23rd day of February 2016.
Thank you. I'm going to give this to you, I think. Next, we are going to recognize, we're very pleased to have joining us today, our Honorable Congressman John Delaney, who'd like to say a few words and offer a citation from Congress.
Thank you, Jan, and thank you, Bud and Donna and everyone else who's gathered here today for this important ceremony in Frederick. I'm very grateful to be here in Frederick to celebrate Black History Month, and it's wonderful that you're doing this ceremony, so I want to thank you for including me and thank you for doing this. As Jan said, and as the proclamation that Bud and Donna read, Black History Month is extraordinarily important in terms of celebrating those champions who have done so much to not only change the trajectory of African Americans in this country, but in their actions and through their deeds, give us examples of some of the finer moments in American history. It started when so many heroes stepped forward and overcame the most immoral thing that this country ever did, which was the institution of slavery. And it continued through the fight for equality and fairness in the civil rights movement. And it continues today. Obviously, with the election of President Obama, we hope we've moved to a post-racial society and we can start embracing people for who they are, as opposed to some of the biases we've had historically. But we all know we're not there. There have been some great champions who are celebrated as part of Black History Month. Many of them are great Marylanders. We talked about some of them, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, right, Thurgood Marshall. You know, some of the most iconic Marylanders stand at the top of leaders in the African-American community and leaders in this country. But more work needs to be done. Too many of our African-American brothers and sisters are burdened with an economic situation that makes equality almost impossible for them. And the benefits and opportunities available in the greatest country of the world, they still cannot achieve because of economic hardships and some decisions that are still being made in our government. So while this month is an important time to celebrate the achievements that have happened, the progress that has been made, and the heroes that were really part of the movement, it's also a time to remember what we have to continue to do so that their lessons will not only sustain us, right, but give us the ambition to overcome some of the biases and barriers and obstacles that still exist. I do have a formal proclamation, which I'd like to read now. The congressional citation is presented to the citizens of Frederick County in celebration of Black History Month 2016. In recognition of the many and great contributions of the African American community to our national life and culture, and in celebration of the countless men and women who taught us that we, as a nation, must live up to the American ideal, that all men are created equal, and to ever continue our endeavor towards a more perfect union. I thank you for having me here today, and now turn it back over to Jan. Thank you, Jan.
All right. Thank you very much, Congressman. Thank you very much, Congressman Delaney. We really appreciate you being here and bringing that congressional citation, those wonderful words. Obviously, everything we work on is a work in progress, and we continue to try to make progress. And in our community, we certainly want to make sure we have shared prosperity and that we treat everyone with dignity and respect. And people who are working on this include the woman I'm about to introduce, Angela Spencer, who chairs our Human Relations Commission, but is really involved in so many other things in our community and really contributes greatly to, again, continuing that progress in our community. So I want to turn this over to you, Angela, for you to say a few words.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so very much. First and foremost, on behalf of the Frederick County Human Relations Commission and on behalf of the Human Relations Department, thank you for taking the time to acknowledge this day, this month. For the community, we've tried 3 times, but Mother Nature would not allow us to do so. So this morning when I looked outside, I said to Robin Santangelo, it's not snowing, so woo! But of course it was raining, but that's okay. It's all good. But nevertheless, I would like to say, Congressman Delaney, thank you for accepting our invitation as well, for being here on today, to make a statement that is bold, to make a statement that we should not only listen and hear today, but to take outside of these doors. As I reflect, and you were mentioning 1976, I remember that I was in the 2nd grade, bicentennial year, had on the cutest red, white, and blue dress with hair bows, marching in a parade. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that was just a few years ago, because I still feel like a march like that again. But nevertheless, it has not been that long ago that changes have been made for people who look like me. My best friend was a white girl. We spent the night together with each other, had a good time, and we're still very good friends today. Some of the challenges that my pastor just mentioned this past Sunday, I reflected on: how can you not go to Baker Park? How can you not go to the Weinberg Center? How can you not go in the front door of a restaurant? We have truly been privileged as people of my generation in comparison to those that we've mentioned who were not. So what must we do? We must continue to march on. So that little girl in the 2nd grade marching in the parade will continue to march on, not only for the communities in Texas from which I'm from, but also for the community of Frederick and other communities to come. So on behalf of everyone here, I would invite everyone just to say their name and the organization that they're with, and honestly, thank you so very much for not only recognizing this day, but recognizing all of the many contributions that people of color have rendered. And it's because that we've each embraced each other that we will continue to engage, educate, and empower one another. Thank you.
Hi, Hi, I'm Lisa Clark. I'm with the Human Relations Department. I'm also with Frostburg State University's AmeriCorps.
Hi, my name is Belva King. I put out a newsletter once a month, Fergus history, and I've been doing it for like about 3 years now. I enjoy it and hope to keep it going for our children's sake.
Thank you.
My name is Shelley Alloy, former alderman in the city of Frederick, and calling for us to transform Frederick, create our future together.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Bartel, and having two sons who were of color, I understand the struggles that they went through and that we continue to go through and that we're all working on, and we hope that we can all be equal and love each other.
I'm Annette Breeling, Human Relations Commission, also co-chair of the Frederick Peace and Justice Network.
Hello, I'm Michael North. I'm from Ohio. I went to the military, and after getting there, I went down to Georgia and was shocked to find out that we could not walk in the front door of the restaurants. And when we went in the back door of the restaurant, we got treated pretty good by the staff. But now I am here in Frederick, and I've been here in Frederick since '79. I retired here. I lost my wife one time, but then, since then, I've been with Belva King. I met her in '07, and she got me interested in African American history. And I have been supporting her. She didn't mention it, but she has done a lot of marvelous things in African American history. She has documented Lord Nickens, yes. And it was a recognition that was done at Hood College. And it was an all-day event. And it was attended by many, and she has videotape of that if anyone would be interested in seeing it.
Thank you.
My name is William Fowler. I just want to say I walked in on this, and I'm so happy, you know. Matter of fact, they asked me to come up here and everything, but I'm the custodian for this building here. One of the custodians and everything.
And we love him, and a nice person.
Hi,
And a friendly
I'm,
face every day.
Hi, I'm Kevin Lawler. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the City of Frederick.
Okay, David, I don't think you introduced yourself.
My name is David Kay. I'm with the Human Relations Commission. I'm not 106 years old, but I am old enough to remember the civil rights problems during the 1950s and 1960s, and I'm certainly proud to be part of where we are today. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Sherman Coleman, Frederick County Office of Economic Development, and I'd just like to say this is really a glorious day for all of us here, and it's something that a reflection of where we've come from, but also the dream of where we're going, and it's just a great part and a great opportunity for each of us to participate in that.
Amber Nally, health educator with the Frederick County Health Department Cancer Prevention Program. Happy to be here. Thank you.
My name is Guy Joken. I'm the Executive Director of UNESCO Center for Peace and immediate past president of NAACP. That's still very much relevant. And I just want, as we share this moment, to remind you also that the United Nations has proclaimed the decade 2015-2024 as a decade for people from African descent. Just for the same reason you are sharing here today, I want to thank all of you for being here today and say when people are asking for equality, is for equal opportunities, not hand down as some people are expressing. It's very important that that is stated, equal opportunity, and we just do fine, just like our president. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shirley Greer. I am here from the National Negro Business and Professional Women's Group. I attend First Missionary Baptist Church. I am also with the Madam C.J. Walker Temple of Elks of the World. And I am happy to be here because I went to segregated schools. I walked by white schools, and they were riding the bus, and they would yell at us. And I am so thankful that my child and my grandchildren do not have to suffer these indignities. Thank you.
Pastor Rex Bowens of Jackson Chapel. I was born and raised in Frederick, Maryland, and there was a time where we wasn't coming together as one, but I'm so glad to see Frederick community coming together as one. My prayer is that we not only continue to come together as one, but we also will stand against the slavery of alcohol, drugs, and other things that put our people into slavery. Amen.
I'm Miles Ward with the County Human Relations Department.
Pat Rosensteel, Citizen Services Division of Frederick County Government, and we're proud to have part of our division also the Human Relations Department and the Commission, and they do things every day, every week that promote human rights in Frederick County.
Gerald Palm, lifelong resident of Frederick County, and situations like this and events like this are ones that we've all been striving for, that we can come to one accord as human beings. And I think these events are very important. Thank you.
Good morning, Captain Patrick Grossman of the Frederick Police Department. First, I just want to say that I'm honored to be here today and that I'm proud of our working relationship of the Frederick Police Department with the Human Relations Commission.
Good morning. My name is Willie Gardner, and I'm, as Angela says, I'm not busy, I'm involved. I'm the ultimate volunteer. I represent Asbury United Methodist Church, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Faith Striders, Negro Business and Professional Women's Club, and FMH Volunteer. I am just so thrilled to be here. I have come a long, long way. Cheryl was mentioning about walking to school, passing the white school. I walked the muddy roads of Alabama. When it's raining, the bus with the white children are riding, smashing mud on our clothes. There's no sidewalk. And making fun of us. So, but I can tell you, I'm a traveler. I have come from that point to living in Europe, to being selected as Military Wife of the Year for Europe, and first alternate for worldwide for Military Wife of the Year. So my whole premise is I'm for service, and that is what I try to do. And I do not meet strangers, no matter what their color, ethnicity, or nationality. I love people, and I think it shows. Thank you for letting me share.
And also to add on behalf of Sheriff Jenkins, who, once again, as I stated, we had to reschedule this for 3 different dates. He was unable to be here on today, but he also sends his acknowledgments and his congrats for us hosting this event on today, and just to recognize that we're all very important contributors to our community. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Frederick Magazine as well, an excellent article in regards to Westall Saint Street and the history from the 1920s. I celebrate Frederick Magazine on that contribution, and I encourage everyone to get a copy of it. Once again, thank you so very much.
Okay. I want to thank all of you who are here for joining us today. I really value your attendance and participation. I want to thank Congressman Delaney for being here, for Council President Bud Otis and Alderwoman Donna Kazumchek. You know, we all are here together to serve our community, and Frederick County is very much blessed because of the people who live here. We really have a wonderful community full of wonderful people who make a difference for each other. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon out in the community.